All right, everybody, one more edge video, one more crop of edges, and we are moving along to the next position. And we're going to boot up this crop with Lonnie Phelps of Kansas, the Jayhawks. 22 years old, 6'2", 244 pounds, 32 and 3/8 inch arms, 9 and a quarter inch hands. Nice little combine, 4.55 40, respectable, very respectable. 162 10-yard split is all right too. And 31 bench press reps, so I think you could call him a little bit of a combine star, and this is going to be one of these guys, and this is not the last guy who's going to fall under these qualifications in this video. He's a great fit as a 3-4 outside linebacker. In fact, I think that's his most natural fit. A couple of big boards have him ranked in the 4th round. The aggregate has him going undrafted. So there's a little bit of variance here, but he strikes me as a guy who will probably get drafted, but probably quite late. Pretty productive the last 2 years for Kansas. In his last 24 games, he's given you 87 tackles and 25 tackles for loss, so a little more than one a game, and 15 and a half sacks. He's quick. He's got good speed. That combine speed shows up pretty good on the tape. He's relentless, too. He keeps going until the whistle blows. He uses his hands pretty well to win when he rushes the passer. He's definitely somebody who understands how to utilize his hands. He doesn't have great length or anything, but he's able to use his hands to win. He should be really good when stunting. His speed is going to help him in those situations. He's also good at being the weak side defender against run plays. He can chase it down the line of scrimmage. But, as is the case with a lot of the guys we're going to look at from this edge crop, is that he is physically weak and a little bit small. He is going to get run over a little bit. He's not going to bull rush. He's not going to fare well when he's the strong side defender. In some ways, he looks more like an off-ball linebacker. And he's not going to do a lot of block shedding once he's engaged because his arms are a little bit short and he's not that physically strong. So kind of a classic 3-4 outside linebacker fit where he can mitigate some of those weaknesses. I don't think there's a super high ceiling here. I don't know if he'll ever be strong enough to be good against the run. But you can get him in the 5th round, and then he rotates in as a pass rusher on passing downs. And I feel like he's pretty ready to contribute now. But if you let him develop a little bit, that's great too. So Lonnie Phelps, we're getting off to a pretty good start here. I like this guy. I do think that there is something of a comfortable floor here, where you know you're getting at the very least a guy who can rush the passer on passing downs. Rotate in, play 15 snaps a game at most, and go wreak havoc on the quarterback. All right, now we have Isaiah Land. This is a small school guy, Florida A&M. I believe they are the Rattlers. 23 years old, 6'3.5", 236 pounds, so a little bit lean, I guess you could say, a little bit on the lean side. I think his plain weight was like 215. That's not going to work. 32.5-inch arms. Combine was okay. 4'6", 240, 165, 10-yard split, 34.5-inch vert, 10'6" broad, 7.23. Like these are okay. They're not great. Kind of what you would expect for a guy in this range of the draft, though. The big boards currently have him in the 7th round as an aggregate. The only big board that really liked him was Sports Illustrated. They have him in around the 5th. He's been very productive the last 2 years. He actually lost a lot of production in 2022, but he's been very productive over these last 2 years. 19 sacks, 20 and a half tackles for loss in 2021. But, of course, he's playing at Florida A&M. It's, shooting fish in a barrel sometimes down there. His production took a pretty big dip in 2022, but it was still good. So, what I can say about him as a player, beyond just the stats and the performance, he's a good athlete for a guy you can probably get in the 7th round. I do expect him to be available in the 7th round. He's got an explosive first step, which you usually do not find this late in the draft. He's somebody who gives a lot of effort. He doesn't stop until the whistle blows. He can put together quick moves to slide off blockers. He's somebody who does have a little bit of upper-level ability in that regard. And he's another guy who's really good at chasing down run plays along the line of scrimmage. When he's the weak side defender, they run away from him, he can chase the play down. He's fast enough for that. Now, this is a little bit of a weird frame for an edge player. 6'3.5", 236 pounds. He might want to put on a little bit of weight, but what does he lose in his speed if he does that? Because speed is kind of his thing. He doesn't have any real power or strength, so he's going to be terrible against the run, probably. He's going to have to continue to develop as a pass rusher. He's going to have to develop even more moves because that's something he's just going to have to lean into. That's his value in this league. Some people, this is another guy who some people think will end up as an off-ball linebacker because his arms are kind of short. They're not super short, but they're not long. And he's a little bit on the smaller side. So, okay, I'm sorry. This is a typo. This should be saying floor. But to me, this just strikes me as a guy with a decent amount of potential, but he's also got a really low floor. Like, he could end up being absolutely nothing at the NFL level. But once you get to the second half of the third day, it's fine. You take him in the 6th round. If he ends up realizing his potential, awesome. If not, you're down a 6th round pick. It's definitely not the end of the world. So this is kind of like the opposite of a KJ Henry pick where you feel like you know what you're getting. I got no idea what you're really getting here, but at the very least, you're getting potential. Okay, now we have Brenton Cox Jr. of the Florida Gators. He's 23, 6'4", 250 pounds, really nice size for a 3'4" rusher, edge. 33 and 1/8 inch arms, okay. 9 and a quarter inch hands. Didn't test super well, but kind of standard for this part of the draft most of the time. 4'8", 240s, not cutting it. 165, 10-yard splits, troublesome as well. Couple big boards really like him, though. The aggregate actually has him in the 5th. So there's something appealing here. And most of it comes from 2021 when he had 14 and a half tackles for loss and 8 sacks. Took a big step back in 2022. Only 2 sacks, only played 8 games, not nearly as productive. Just a little bit of a down year, didn't launch himself into the stratosphere like he was probably hoping. But he looks the part. That's one thing I'll say about him. He's got the perfect build, the perfect build, the perfect size for a 3-4 rusher. He's also got some strength to him, strong enough to set edges against the run. He's not a guy you have to take off the field on rundowns. He's good at block shedding, which at this part of the draft especially is hard to find sometimes. He's good at shedding blockers. He's also good chasing down plays from behind, good hustle plays. And there are moments where he flashes being able to be a good pass rusher, but it's been inconsistent. And when I look at these test numbers, I kind of think to myself, maybe it'll just never really be there. I mean, he couldn't even manage it consistently at the college game. He's playing good competition, granted, at Florida, but maybe it's just never going to really manifest. Maybe there's just not enough talent to unleash it. He's also another guy who struggles to finish the plays he sets up. It's the Clowney syndrome. And he needs to learn how to process information and react faster on defense, I think. He's one of those guys who needs to improve a little cerebrally, I think, which is not ideal given he's already 23, but it's not the most surprising thing in the world when you consider that 2022 was a little bit of a arrested development for him. So the thing I can say about Brenton Cox that's kind of nice is that his ceiling is a 3-down player because he's proven that he's strong enough to hold up against the run, which means that he's somebody who can play a lot of snaps for you. I don't know if these speed quotients are ever going to translate into a good pass rusher, but he flashed ability to get to the quarterback over the last few years. So it exists. It's just going to be hard to get to. It's probably going to require these testing numbers to not be reflected well with what he does on a football field at the NFL level. But I'll take him in the 5th round. At the very least, you're getting a guy who can stand up against the run. He can be like KJ Henry, kind of. I don't think he's as safe as KJ Henry in terms of giving you a high floor, but I feel like it's okay there. Last guy, guys, last guy, DJ Johnson of the Oregon Ducks. 24 years old, 6'4", 260 pounds, a little bit on the bigger side, but I actually found myself liking this guy quite a bit as I looked at him. The thing to understand here real quick is that he played tight end for 2 years. So he's 24, but he's only been playing his current role on the Oregon team for basically 1 year. So he's got room to grow. 33 and a half inches, arms, solid, 9-inch hands, sure. Look at this 40-yard dash. Like, this is the 40-yard dash of a guy who goes early day 3 at least, right? Often they go day 2. 4.49, 159, 10-yard split, 32-inch vert, 9'2" broad, 28 bench press reps. So fast and strong. Couple big boards really like him. The aggregate has him in like the 6th, maybe. I could see him going in the 5th, though, personally, if you look at these measurables. The issue with him is just lack of production. He's got 1 year of production and it was only 6 sacks in 11 games, 8.5 tackles for loss. But he was playing tight end for 2 years, so he could get a lot better in the coming years. There's upside here that normal 24-year-olds don't have. He's fast, he's quick, he's strong. Like, it's a great mix of traits. And he's big enough to hold up against the run. I don't think he's going to get blown off the field against the run. His speed and length are good enough for him to win the edge a lot. He's also got the power to bull rush. So he can beat you with speed and he can beat you with power. He's got a high motor. He's always playing hard, always trying hard. So honestly, DJ Johnson, we're ending on a high note here. I like this guy a lot. It is frustrating that you have to develop a guy who's 24 years old right now. By the way, when I say 24, I mean 24 now. Like, he'll be 24 and a half when the season starts. So that just kind of is what it is, though. It's understandable in this case. His lateral movement is not ideal. He's not going to be somebody who's great in zone drops, I think. The cerebral part of playing defense is not yet there. Again, very understandable. But I like the upside. I like the potential of him learning the position over an extended period of time. Fifth round pick, I'm here. I'm here for it. I don't think I'd go fourth round because it's such a gamble, but I do think I would happily go fifth round. And maybe I could be talked into fourth round. I don't know if I can get there, but there's something very interesting with DJ Johnson that we probably just don't fully know about yet because of the situation. All right, that's all the edge players. We went through, I believe, 12 players today, 9 yesterday, and 6 the day before. So we've done our homework. Which edges do you like? Which edges do you not like? Moving on to a new position tomorrow. See you guys later. Go Hawks. And hey, one of these guys, very good chance, ends up a Seahawk.